This is the E-commerce Braintrust, a podcast about building momentum online for established consumer brands. Join our hosts and their expert guests for high-level conversations about e-commerce strategies, trends, and innovations. Access our Braintrust and boost your brand's e-commerce potential.
Hello, and welcome to the E-commerce Braintrust podcast. I'm Julie Spear, alongside my co-host, Jordan Ripley. And today we have our third edition of our monthly retail roundup, where we recap all key retail industry news from the past month. This is being recorded at the end of March, and so we might miss a few updates that come in between now and the 31st, but we'll do our best to summarize all the changes on the organic and ops side, along with the media side, with our trusty experts, Armin and Ross. Welcome back. Great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Good to be back.
All right, let's dig in, because boy, is there a lot to dig into. And one of the things I want to make sure that we stick to in our conversation today is use of appropriate application of our beloved hypometer. Is it a hypometer, a hypometer?
Hypometer for me.
Okay.
Right, yeah, for those Commonwealth people, it's on hypometer.
Or we just drop the O in general. It's the hype meter. And I think we can start with a big update that my hypothesis is will register very high on the hype meter. And this is Amazon's changes to the way that they are calculating fees on coupons. This is a biggie, especially as it's coming out on the heels or along with the updates around Prime Day and ability to submit deals for Prime Day. Armin, can you map this out for us? What are these latest fee changes and what's it going to mean for brands?
Yeah, so it's not only coupons, it's also lightning deals, best deals, prime exclusive discounts, everything almost. Let me just quote Amazon first. Like they said, they are making several changes that are designed to make it easier to test deal and coupon strategies by giving you more control on deal duration, lowering upfront deal costs, and making deals and coupons fees performance-based. So when I look at this, it's like, when you're delivering bad news to somebody, you're like kind of saying the good stuff at the beginning, and then like you just kind of time in the last piece and saying like, oh, and coupon fees are going to be performance-based. So like this is going to be like huge hit in terms of just the impact on the profitability for these promos. So the changes are starting on June 2nd, again, before Prime Day, right? So like Prime Day will be the first kind of time when they reap the benefits of this. So lightning deals, they used to cost $150. There was a fixed fee, and now they're switching that to $70 per day. And on top of that, you will be paying 1% of your sales, and there's a cap at $2K max. For best deals, so these used to be like $300 for 7 days. Again, same update as for lightning deals. It's going to be $70 per day. And again, you pay the 1% of sales capped at $2K as well. For peak events, so Prime Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, there will not be any changes for now, at least, as we know. So $1K for best deals will be the fixed fee that we already had, and $500 for the lightning deals. On the coupon side, these used to cost 60 cents per unit redeemed, and now they're adding a fixed cost, which is $5 per coupon you create, and then on top of that, you pay 2.5% of your sales. And then for Prime exclusive discounts, at least for this year that they specified, like it's for Prime Day 2025, they are doubling the price. So these used to cost $50, and now they're switching it to $100 per Prime exclusive discount. And a bomb that they dropped on Monday, which seems to be unnoticed by the industry, is that Prime Day is actually going to extend to 4 days this year. So we'll have a longer event where Amazon has more time to fill their pockets. One other thing that kind of struck me as well was they'll be rewarding brands who do steeper discounts. So if you discount your products at 40% or more, they promise an additional placement for your deal. So what that is, it's not specified. Could be like something on a homepage, maybe a new deal page or something, but you will be rewarded for it.
But how are brands to access that money to more steeply discount when the cost of the discount is actually so much greater than what it had been before?
Yep.
The math isn't matching for me on that.
I always feel like Amazon just rolls this out and they let the brands fight each other because you have to kind of compete. And if your competitor does 40%, oh, we need to do the 40% as well. And it's kind of like, just this race to the bottom, I feel, oftentimes.
I was just going to ask where you're seeing this on the hype meter.
Yeah, is there a negative? Like, it's a huge hype, but
it doesn't have to be positive integers. You can go into
yeah, -10 for brands, +10 for Amazon for sure.
Well, and +10 is something to pay attention to.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was going to say I have a bit of a hypothesis here because I saw this happen to a lot of brands last Prime Day and over T5 or the Turkey 5 or Black Friday Cyber Monday, T12.
Yeah.
PD4.
A lot of brands complained over Prime Day because the best deals and the deals pages felt totally oversaturated. And brands that used to be getting really good premium placements lost them, and they felt like they missed out on a huge amount of revenue as a result. And then what happened is Amazon ended up extending those deals for a few days after Prime Day and T12. They were like, oh, you under-delivered? We're going to extend your deals. Well, this year they're saying there will be no extension of deals. We're going to just extend the event. And if you want this so bad, we're going to take a percentage of the sales to represent it. So to me, it's really kind of in line with what's been happening over the course of the last couple events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The funniest thing to me is the $5 coupon fee. Like, they have to charge you 2.5% of sales, but then they also need to get $5. Like, do they need to buy a Subway sandwich alongside your deal? And they're just like, tack that on. Nobody.
I think this is targeting, like, when you repeatedly create a coupon, like they just accumulate well, and then if you have a large catalog, catalog, it's also, you have 200 parent ASINs. It's a lot of money.
So it's that Starbucks tax. Stop that practice. Save your budget.
The Venti coupon fee. Okay, well, starting off the -10 hype, love to begin the episode with that. Go into a bit of a product zone rather than the deal hype that we've seen from the past couple of days here. We, of course, know Amazon hyper-focused on making Amazon DSP more user-friendly. That's a big product pillar for them, a focus area, particularly upper funnel, brand-focused media. A few weeks ago, we saw, I think, a fair amount of buzz on a new development that they're calling Complete TV. So, Ross, this is a mysterious but an intriguing title. Why was TV buying on Amazon incomplete before, and what makes this complete?
One of the best ways to understand this is by contrast. Complete TV is different than their recent announcement of Brand Plus. They've got these kind of two service lines that are available now that are both addressing the TV market in different ways. Complete TV and Brand Plus, they differ. They're kind of serving distinct audience strategies. Complete TV is all about helping TV buyers maximize their cost per reach and also make sure they have a clean audience strategy, like a more dynamically controlled audience strategy. So they're not overlapping, targeting the same audiences again and again. It's supposed to be like an all-in-one, easier way to do your TV buying. And that includes linear TV too. A lot of brands have commitments to spend a certain amount in linear TV or streaming TV or elsewhere. Well, this tool that Amazon has released is supposed to centralize that and make it a lot easier to do your linear TV buying. Brand Plus, on the other hand, is more about helping digital buyers engage with audiences on streaming TV, online video, and display. It's not about the linear TV piece at all. So that's where they're structurally very different. And to me, this is very in line with what Amazon has been telegraphing, is they want to own more and more of the linear TV reach type of media buying that's been available for a long time as part of their development of themselves as a giant monolithic advertising stack.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. If you think of those two product developments in terms of the sort of user that they're defined by or built for, perhaps this Complete TV is more of an extension into the traditional media buyer who's been 100%. Buying TV placements and maybe not familiar with ADSP and trying to bring them into the fold.
100%. Especially this is for non-endemic brands.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you just need to do linear TV media buying, period. We're the tool for you.
Yeah. I think back to like college age Jordan, who would have thought Complete TV was owning all series of The Wire on box DVD, and to know now that it's actually AI. Well, that it's like AI bidding on TV placements programmatically. Like, what a time to be alive.
What a time. How would you hype this one then, Ross?
I feel like Amazon is still finding its footing here. in terms of getting a piece of the general linear TV media buying universe. I think they want to dominate it. I feel like this is their first outing. It's maybe their first product that's very specific to this. I don't know how finely tuned it is. I don't know how finely tuned the marketing is yet. I'm not even sure how many brands are going to start raising their hands and being like, yep, this is what I need. That's solving a big problem for me. And that's because I'm a retail person first. I'm not a linear TV buyer first. So I have a hard time evaluating just how amazing this is, candidly. As a retail person, it's like a 4 or 5 because that's kind of low on the list of things that I think my retail brands are looking for. If I was like a more general media buyer, then this might be very interesting, maybe somewhere 7 or 8.
I might need to go back in the archives. I feel like there's this level of caveat every time I ask you to put something on the hype meter, and you hang out right there in that 5 to 7 range. I'm going to validate this right now. This is anecdotal.
Yeah. Graph me on the hypometer, please.
I will.
Hypometer, please.
Hypometer.
On the trend of what a time to be alive, another update this month was about API availability. What a time. So there were 2 updates that really seemed notable in the past month. One of them being making search query reports from brand and analytics available via API. So we've had access to these in Seller Central directly for years, but now Amazon's unlocking it to tech providers so you can fetch it programmatically. What's our take on this?
I'm a huge fan of the SQP, as it's known to us in nerddom. And I'm really looking forward to having tools that will make what was a very manual process a lot easier to manage and a lot easier to see insights, surface insights. So you spend less time downloading, pivoting. That's more time for analyzing and making action. So for me, this is like a 10 on the hype meter. I've wanted this forever. And my hope is that it comes out for vendors at the same time.
My graph just changed.
Yeah.
You influence the graph. This is quantum. You as an observer have influenced the outcome.
I think you're just messing your graphs, Julie. For me, on the hype meter, I would give it a 10 as well, or 9 or 10, if somebody implemented this tomorrow. But if we're going to wait for this for a year to like be in tools and software, I feel it's like 7 or an 8. Same as Ross, like I'm excited about the automation piece, but as well with the AI developments, I feel like if software providers can layer on top of that, like AI insights of what my SQP is telling me, that's going to be great. As well as coupling this with organic ranking, for example. I have all these search terms, and then I'm tracking my organic rank elsewhere. If I combine these two, a report that says this is what happened on the search query, and this is how organic rank is ranking, that's blowing my mind in terms of how we can approach this. Yeah.
And I look at everything in terms of like an optimization table too. So if I'm looking at my search term report or my keyword report, and there's a column now for what my conversion rate is as a brand on that keyword for the product I'm advertising, that's super valuable. To be able to trend that against the optimizations I'm making makes life very easy.
I think the timing on this is interesting because, yeah, it's something, I mean, we've wanted for a decade? Or like since search on Amazon existed, the need for good first-party search data has been there. And then when they rolled it out in brand analytics, it was super exciting, but I think under-leveraged because it didn't integrate with any tools. And so we've used all these third-party data platforms that just scrape search data. But even when that click share and add to cart share and conversion share, like everything down the funnel organically was available in SQP. So yeah, I'm hype level 10 for this. I think the timing is so strange in that this is also the time where AI search is becoming more and more of a thing, in which the idea of like a traditional SERP and your position within SERP and the whole click funnel is being disrupted. So it's just crazy to me that it took Amazon this long to roll it out, and now they roll it out when potentially it becomes less. Right, exactly. So it's either a signal that they still believe that the traditional search will be a core part of the search experience, which I think is valid, or it's just like a bizarre product timing thing. It's hard to sort of deduce which of those is true, but hype 10 timing question mark.
I think the other piece of this that makes this complicated is the SQP has different attribution parameters than like everything else. You're only getting attributed sales for, I think it's within 24 hours of the click. And that's very different from all your other metrics. They're not lining up. I'll be very interested to see how that maybe gets unified over time too. Because for sure in the back end, they've got multiple different windows of data, conversion data available.
Staying on the topic of API availability, one that we've been working on for a bit of time, but has now been launched publicly is Walmart's display API. This is something that one of the first partners with PackView to really leverage internally. I assume we'll see more of this now that it's a publicly available beta. Ross, just from our early experience using this within PackView, any big unlocks, just more like time savers, or what's your take on this API launch?
Yeah, it's mostly just a time saver because we've been using PackView, and PackView makes it really easy to slice and dice the data and look at it in different time ranges. And also just the way that the dashboard is built within Walmart is things are in different sections, different areas. It's a lot more from a time savings perspective, but then also for an analysis perspective, it's so valuable to have a tool that brings everything together all in one view. And we can share that with our clients as well. That makes life a lot easier. For me, it's all about efficiency. It's not like there was a huge amount of data unlocks that came from this API tool. It just made our lives easier. It made brands' lives easier because we could surface the data to them more clear.
And a continued reflection of Walmart's advertising platform,
100%
maturity. Yeah.
Are we good to pivot from APIs? Or...
I'm going to be moderated in my head still, but yeah, we can go on.
There are a couple partnerships that were announced this month as well. Amazon announced partnerships with Adobe and also Google, strangely. Adobe, it focuses on integrating creative workflows for ad creation. And then with Google, it involves integrating Chrome's privacy sandbox within DSP for better conversion tracking for Chrome users. What do we make of these partnerships? Is it telling us anything about forecasting anything about where Amazon's going and what they're hoping for next?
I had a good chat about the Google one with the head of paid search at Acadia, Alan Carroll, and he's a real genius in these matters. So he helped frame the kind of context of this, sort of having seen this play before. And essentially, as Amazon has developed its ad stack, there's a need for it to be more and more compliant with terms that other advertising technology had to be very, very compliant on. Amazon's not just in its walled garden of data anymore. Now it's playing more with other people's data, and it needs to be compliant with CCPA in a way that maybe it didn't need to care about as much anymore. And this is an easy solution for them. They can basically take Amazon's or Google's off-the-shelf compliance technology and tack it onto theirs, so they're having to build the capability from scratch. Well, that's what Alan was thinking is the primary driver of this, and I can see that. My first thought was this is all about conversion tracking and more data for Amazon to feed into their system, and that's what they'd be getting. They'd be able to do more and better attribution, understand ad IDs, and understand the path of conversion better. But that's really just gravy on what is more likely a compliance play.
And the Adobe partnership, probably more fun than a compliance play. How do you see that playing out?
In the grand scheme of things, it seems to me like Amazon is opening its doors to more partnerships with other data providers in a way that the bigger DSPs have done, like the Trade Desk or any of the other platforms. Having more connections and integrations with other big tools, other big data sets that allow things to work at scale for bigger enterprise buys, I think it really just telegraphs the development of their technology and the focus on non-endemic as being the future for Amazon as they see it.
Yeah, I mean, they had the partnership with Canva, a partnership with Adobe is sort of moving from mid-market to enterprise.
Exactly.
Yeah. Last thing before we wrap today, Armin, there's been just a crazy amount of updates within the seller and vendor consoles directly across vendor analytics, some retail analytics, across voice of the customer dash, data that's been unlocked in a lot of new reporting views, a lot of things that continue Amazon's march towards, I think, a more user-friendly marketplace console. Of the many, we don't have time to cover all of them, any that really stand out to you. This will make a big difference in our ability to manage brands.
As you said, it's been a lot of small updates, but one that I would vote for is the Voice of the Customer Dash update, where approximately 2 years ago, Amazon introduced that frequently returned product badge on the product page. Customers would see, this is actually being returned frequently. Do I even want to buy? Now, what they added to the Voice of the Customer Dash is the back-end view of all of the information that will be in the front end as well. So now you can see if your ASIN is actually flagged as a frequently returned product. You also get a warning, kind of a heads up, hey, if you continue at this pace, you will get the badge. And then they also offer you, which is the best thing, is what your suggested return rate is or should be to avoid getting the return badge. So you get a lot of metrics you can play with. It's hard to control those as well at the same time, but at least you now have insights to work with.
You can see the scarlet letter approaching your feet, and that shame will be heaped upon you.
You know how to wash that shame off now.
Amazing.
Well, this busy month again, and just as Amazon has now figured out Complete TV, Armin Ross, I think you help us offer Complete Podcast when you come on and share your views.
Good one.
I think I'm at Podcast Plus as well.
That was last month. Last month was you get a plus, you get a plus. We're complete.
Now we're complete.
We need an API. I think we need an API, Julie, as well. Let's integrate one.
I assume the A in API stood for Armin.
And now we're falling apart. So we'll just stop right there. Thanks for coming on and looking forward to our next roundup.
Thanks, good.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.